Hello and welcome to Health Matters, coming to you on Channels Television. Thanks for joining us. I am Mary Alale Yusuf. With 27 bones, including 8 in the wrist, the hands are an intricate work of engineering. Hands and fingers possess more nerve endings per square centimeter and more pain receptors than any other part of the human body. This makes hand injuries more painful than others. Industrial hand injuries are common and contribute greatly to worker morbidity. According to the 2014 statistics of the International Association of Drilling Contractors, hand and finger injuries make up 43% of all recorded accidents on drilling rigs. Studies show that over 90% of hand injury victims are male, and injury is usually to the right hand. My guests today are a consultant plastic and reconstructive surgeon to my immediate left, Dr. Muna Chira, and a consultant trauma and orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Seyi Idowu. Doctors Chira and Idowu are both from the National Orthopedic Hospital, Igbobi, in Lagos. You're welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us.
So we talk about industrial hand injuries. Can you give me an example of kinds of injuries that occur in these industries? Kinds of hand injuries, that is.
Thank you very much. Of course, the type of injury you get depends on the industry in question. And of course, the machine that is the offending machine. Or basically, the injuries are crush injuries to the hand, or crush lacerating injuries.
That's cuts.
Yeah, there's crush element to it and a lacerating element to it. Or clean lacerating injuries. Or puncture injuries.
Like a nail.
Like a nail, sharp objects puncturing the hand. And of course, you can have burns, all kinds of burns, chemical burns, and steam burns, hot water burns. It all depends on the industry in question. And you can have clean lacerating injuries, amputating injuries, amputating parts or portions of the hand.
Are some of these injuries reversible? Can the effects be reversed?
Oh, certainly. With adequate intervention. Of course, hand injuries is one aspect where the first responder needs to be the expert. Because if it's done wrongly ab initio, reversing it becomes much more difficult. But if the expert sees it at the onset, then you can do a lot to amend the damages.
Can you diagnose the particular hand injury, or maybe where there's a fracture or something like that, just by looking at it or touching? Or do you need to use special instruments for that?
Yeah, of course, like everything else in medicine, there are procedures. You take a history first, then you do a proper evaluation, examination of the hand, and then depending on what you find, after taking a good history and doing an examination, then you order appropriate investigations where necessary. So sometimes it may require to do some extra investigations to make a proper diagnosis.
Okay, now, you know, our hands are so useful to us. We believe so, but we don't think of exactly what our hands can do for us. We use them heedlessly. If someone has a hand injury, what kind of usage is he losing? What are the things he can lose by losing use of the hand?
Okay, that's a good question.
So many. I mean, first thing is, we say that your hand is your means of livelihood. So you've lost your hand, almost all of us, whether you're a manual laborer, whether you're in a technical business, you've lost the ability to earn a living. So, like Dr. Chira said earlier, the prompt response, the first, making the right decision early enough, goes towards a good outcome. So it starts from the pre-hospital care, the sort of care that the patient gets even from the site of the injury, how early they go to the right center to see an expert, like he has said, prompt assessment, which is clinical history examination.
Is this prompt assessment, is it critical?
Very
Good
critical.
The outcome is?
Very, very critical. The early assessment, how good the early assessment is determines what level of function. And then the studies have shown that what level of function the injured person achieves eventually.
Sometimes people's, like you've spoken of crushing injuries, some people's bones are actually smashed. Is there hope for such a person?
There's a lot of hope. It just depends on, one, the support, the care that is available, the expertise that is available, funding, of course. It depends on the kind of support the individual has. I mean, someone who has a lot of insurance and his company or is backed up with a lot of funds can get a very high level of care that will make him return to probably the way he was. There have been people who have come back after severe crushing injury to go back and operate even as surgeons. The other problem with it is the awareness that this sort of care is available
in this country.
In this country. So going to the right place or right places.
Do we have enough people doing these things?
Definitely, human resources, manpower is still a problem in the health sector. But even with what is available, the information is not available to a lot of the industrial workers. You know, you still find people going to the unorthodox practitioners, and then they come back with complications after a few weeks.
Yes, bone setting people in the villages.
Which has changed the outcome completely.
Just to add to what he said, when you asked the question about what you stand to lose if the hand should be compromised, I think the best way to think about it is to just close your eyes and imagine what you can do without your hands. The hands are so critical to survival.
Drinking tea, something as simple as that.
Eating and clean up after poo-poo. Can you imagine without your hands?
Oh, yes,
you can't clean up. So many things you can do. The hand is an organ of communication. You know, as we talk, you can see how I'm expressing. So you express yourself through your hand, you communicate, you reach out. It's an organ of interaction with the world.
You know, it's important because people don't think of this.
They don't. No. They just take it for granted.
They just feel it's
one organ that is taken for granted, but the hand is so critical, and that's why the concept of somatosensory homocclusion, there's something called somatosensory homocclusion.
What's that?
That's a map of the body on the brain, cortical representation of the map on the brain, and the hand has been shown to have the largest representation in the brain of all organs.
The largest mapping.
Yes, when you map the body, you know, size per unit of the brain, the hand has the largest size representation, showing you how intricate the hand is. It's a compact structure, a compact organ with so many structures within. Okay, and that's like I say in the beginning, so many nerves, so many structures all within the hand, just to show how intricate the movements are. So without the hand, a person cannot do much. Even as an organ of even romance, you know, so many things that you need the hand for. You can pray. It's a very critical organ, and
are there any injuries that the hand, the hand gets from repetitive actions, like in a factory? You know that some factories, somebody may just be assigned to shifting something, and he does that all day throughout his shift. Do any hand injuries result from repetitive action?
Not really, not very common. If you talk about repetitive action, not really much, that you get. Apart from, you can have some hand conditions that you get from repetitive actions. They call them tenosynovitis, but not really injuries. There's kind of inflammation that you have in some of the tendons that run in the hand.
Is that what you use splints for?
You can use splints to manage them. You can also use surgery to correct them.
Surgery? But that's serious. Repetitive action should send you to surgery.
Oh yes, it can. There's a condition called de Quervain's tenosynovitis. It's one of the conditions you can get from repetitive actions. People who type, people, so if you have it, you may need surgery to decompress the tendons and free the patient.
Okay, I just want to ask this question. Have you been successful at handling hand injuries from industrial places and sending such people back to the same jobs they left?
Very well. So
they get full action.
We work at the National Orthopedic Hospital in Wobi, which is a premier orthopedic hospital in the country. So you get a lot of this hand injured coming in. And it depends on how soon and the access and the extent of the injury.
Okay, so more of that when we come back.
Yeah, okay.
We need to take a short break.
Okay.
Let's take a really short break and be back right after this.